work. As
Took that move from
always,
us.
He did.
Cordell.
Oh, he robbed.
Dose.
It is NFL Combine week, so we are ready to get into that, plus the top 4 teams in the draft, and we're going to talk about them, and also the franchise tag, what's happened so far, what we expect to happen that we did not get into last week, what's changed since then. So we're going to get into all that and more, but of course, before we get into that, please like, subscribe, share on all socials.
Subscribe.
As usual.
We do appreciate it.
Very much so. And let's start with the obvious things that have happened. Franchise tag happens. T. Higgins, as we all expected, he gets locked up. So that's there for them now moving forward. Any qualms with it? Or
I mean, I'm concerned
about
because it's you're kicking the can down the road when it comes to his contract, and Jamar is going to want his money soon, especially if Justin Jefferson gets his money soon. So you're delaying the inevitable, in my opinion, with this. And if they don't get anything done, I think this definitely could be a problem down the road where next offseason comes around and both Chase and Higgins are going to be looking at the Bengals and say, "Where's my money?"
I mean, at the same time, though, they both understand what the situation is and understand, at least from Jamar's perspective, he wants to see how much Justin Jefferson gets paid. You've seen what Tyreek got
Absolutely.
at 30 plus.
Absolutely.
He wants to see what Justin Jefferson can get paid. So that way, when his contract come around, he has a good measuring stick, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even just in terms of what suits T, like the Bengals, they haven't had their full team ready to go into the playoffs like they had since they went to the Super Bowl. So just having that last run with your team, I feel like T didn't. It felt like unfinished business with him. I don't think that he would have wanted to leave, regardless of money or not. He's getting paid 21 mil with the franchise tag. I don't think that he's tripping over that. They can figure it out. He's 24,
you
25.
think they're gonna figure it out?
And he'll figure it out. I'm not worried about T. They'll figure it out. They understand that Jamar, again, him being able to be a deep threat, be able to take a slant, a bubble, 80 yards, got the wiggle, got the speed, the hands, the confidence. Jamar is the priority. And T understands that.
Yeah.
So I don't think that he's gonna be tripping over getting tagged right now. He knows what the situation is.
I mean, it's one of those situations where everybody is watching everybody in a room right now when it comes to receivers. We saw it with quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks who were ready for their extension, they wanted to wait and see what the next guy got. So it's going to be the same thing here. But the thing is, right, it does work. But from a Bengal standpoint, you're giving to me this gives T an opportunity for his window to be more open, especially when it comes to salary cap rising next year, new TV deal, things of that nature. So that may affect the market going forward for
Cap
him.
went up crazy this year.
Yeah. Say cap went up like 30 million.
Yeah, 20 million, 25 million, something like that.
So somewhere in that neighborhood. But I just feel that that's what could happen. I'm pretty sure the Bengals are still keeping out hope that even with this tag, they're able to get something done this summer. But in the event that doesn't happen, a problem could be growing in Cincinnati.
My whole thing is, should they have just drafted somebody and just let him go? Should they still draft somebody, even though they kept him?
Let him go like that. I mean, it depends on if you think you're like, are you looking for a T prototype? Are you looking to get like a Keon Coleman or
no,
somebody like that?
No.
I don't like your tone, but
yes and no. Yes to your question, Keon. I don't think fits it just because he's got the size doesn't mean he can do what Higgins does.
So let me ask you this: in the
I agree.
event that happens, that they let him walk, and they don't re-sign Tyler Boyd, you're going to let both of those receivers walk in the same offseason? That's a decent chunk of their offense.
So here's the thing: how much is Tyler Boyd going to cost you?
Tyler's probably going to cost them 7 or 8.
I could extend him, and then
do you want to though? Because he's 31.
Extend him for what, 2 years maybe? Or what's the draft pool? Not the draft pool. What's the free agent market look like? You have Curtis Samuel. Well, you guys think he's just a gadget guy, but
Curtis Samuel,
Hollywood
Brown's probably going to ask. He's probably going to ask for double. He's probably going to ask 14, 15 maybe.
You got like
He's like
KJ Osborne.
Kendrick Bourne is out there. Yeah, KJ Osborne will
So
be
are these
available.
guys who think younger who can fill in for Tyler Boyd's spot as a 3?
As a 3?
I
I
As
think
don't
a
that I don't
KJ
know.
Osborne would be a good
That I
pickup.
don't because this nucleus has been together for so long. I
Mhm.
still don't know how that offense is going to look. Even with Tyler Boyd leaving, I'm still going to look at it and say, well, that's a decent amount of talent and production that's walking out that door. That's the thing. I just because again, if you've seen it, you've seen them together for what 2 or 3 years now at least. Like you know that they have built a very good chemistry amongst the entire offensive group. And to watch your number 2 and your number 3 receiver walk out the door in the same offseason, man, that's a lot to replace.
Would they go and scoop Gabe Davis and then put Jamar in the slot and have T and
Jesus,
Gabe on the outside?
you might as well pay T if you're gonna give Gabe money.
How much
No,
money does he want?
no, Gabe is at least what they say on the market. Gabe is around 12. So
I
no, not
know,
T.
no,
That's not T.
no, that's
But
not T. But I'm like, if I'm going to hand out
I
$12
would
million
get. I
to
would
a
keep
player,
Boyd. I would
I
keep
would
Boyd.
at least attempt to try to re-sign T before I'm bringing in Gabe. No, man, Gabe ain't gonna do.
I like Curtis Samuel on the Bengals. I think that adds a different dynamic to their offense. Kind of like the dudes who they've been picking up. What they got, Trent Irwin, or what's the other? That's not what I'm
Listen,
thinking of. The
I
other wide
I
receiver,
can't pronounce his name, but he went to Princeton, right?
dude, Speedy.
Yeah.
He like I feel like they've been looking for that element of their offense, having like a little Debo type character.
So
Curtis would fit that role.
so you guys think what they go ahead and tag Higgins like they did and draft somebody to be their 3 and hopefully turn into their 2?
No, I'm looking at it where
I'm thinking
it's
of Charlie
to
Jones.
me it's easier for them to replace Tyler Boyd than it is T Higgins. So I'm gonna if anything, I'm going to tag and I'm really going to be aggressive this offseason to try to get him signed. And if you
You
know
think you
if
can sign both of them? See, to
no
me,
no no
it's
no no no
impossible
no I'm not no I'm my priority will be to resign T.
No. What I'm saying, you think you can sign both Higgins and Chase? I think it's
Yes.
impossible to sign both.
Yes, because if I can get his deal done now while the ceiling is roughly under 20 million, that's going to me that's going to help me in the long run. I think you let him have another second team all pro season, man, he's going to sit there and say, "Hey, I want 25."
Because
He's going to want some money.
because of his age, I just don't know if I can sign both of them because he's gonna get at least minimum. He's getting 20 minimum.
Got to.
If
Talking about T?
Christian Kirk can get 20,
Oh yeah.
he can get 20 on the
And he's
market.
playing on the franchise tag
Kurt
at
didn't get
21
20.
right now. He's going.
Yeah, if he's at franchise tag is 21.
He's not
Kurt
going
didn't get
below that.
Kurt didn't get 20. Oh, Kurt
He got like 18.
Oh, 18.
yeah,
Yeah, he
Okay.
got 18.
So, but what did
But I'm
Ridley
with
get?
you. Oh, guaranteed. You can
really
give him
didn't get
guaranteed.
anything yet.
Did he
Give him
did he
guaranteed.
because he got traded to the
He got
St.
traded to him, so
James? Yeah, 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 yeah,
he
yeah.
played on him 1 year. So, I
But
mean,
no, I definitely also just the thought process in terms of your first opportunity to get paid. Most dudes aren't going to take no pay cut on their first opportunity to get a big
right,
contract
right.
because they
It
understand the
was
risk.
it was just like the Montez Sweat situation where Montez was traded to Chicago, and a lot of people felt, man, he's not going to stay there. He's going to play out and he's going to leave. And it was literally like a lot of people didn't recognize that the Bears had that advantage because he's in their building every day, so they can show him whatever numbers they want to show him.
They make that happen quick.
So since he can sit right here and say, "Hey, bro, look, take this 19 and a half for over the next 4 years and be satisfied before T says I'm gonna test the market, and then next thing you know, I don't know, Carolina says we'll give you 23. You see what I'm saying? Like you're letting other teams play the game with you instead of taking care of the guy that's in your building right now.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't know. If you're telling me the franchise tag is 21, I'm sitting here thinking I deserve more than the franchise tag.
No player, but that rarely happens where a player gets more than his tag number. Like the tag number is always overinflated over what you actually get.
But there's some situations like this one with T. Somebody will absolutely pay T 23, 25 mil to go play for their team.
For how long? For 4 years? You think
Yeah.
somebody will
Yeah,
give him a
until he
four or
turns
5 year
30.
deal?
Yeah,
So
Sound about right.
what team would do it?
Oh, that's a great question. Where would T? So it would be a
Have to
combination of
see.
money and fit.
It has to be a team that has money and it has a true need as a number one. Because if I'm paying him that much money, he's my number one receiver.
Okay,
I could sit here and what do the Cardinals look like cap space wise?
that's a good question. I was
Because
gonna
I could
say
see him
the
go
Colts. What do the Colts
Cardinals.
look like if they tag Pittman and one other guy?
No, you're
I'm not
not.
going.
If you're tagging Pittman, that's going to be 20 something, and
Yeah,
you're
you're not
bringing him
doing.
in. You're
Yeah,
not doing
Yeah,
both.
no, you're right.
yeah.
You're
So
right.
you have to choose one or the other.
Because I'm about to
So
say, if you put Pittman and Higgins with Richardson, and you still got Jonathan Taylor, I like that a lot,
yeah, of course,
especially with their division.
But there's a reason that they have a cap to prevent these things.
I understand. I understand. Oh, maybe the Raiders go play with Devontae, but who's their quarterback?
No, I think the best bet is honestly the Cardinals. That's the only team that I can see who has the cap space, who has that need. And if you're telling me that I'm getting a real quick makeover and I'm getting T. Higgins and I'm getting Marvin, okay,
You could say
The
Tennessee.
Titans. I was just about to say the Titans got 80
okay.
million cap room, and they have they
Is
have
was
Traylon.
Hop only on a 1 year deal?
I believe so. No, actually, no.
No,
No,
he's
it's
on a
two.
2 year deal,
It was a
so
2 year
he's
deal.
back
So
next year.
he's got enough. So you're talking about Traylon Burks, Hopkins,
Yep,
and
Higgins.
yep.
I like that. I like that. That was
So
probably
that's a considerable amount of money still tied up in Higgins and Hopkins, even if it's for a year.
Houston got 70
But I
plus
can
mil too.
I can take it for a year. The same thing with like the Dolphins. Like they're gonna pay Waddle because Hill's contract is just about up by the time it's time to pay Waddle to get
And
Waddle.
Tyreek was also talking a couple, or at least last year, he was saying that he was just going to play off his contract and
Contract can be
retire.
done exactly.
So yeah, they definitely was going to do
The
that.
crazy thing about that, and I'm looking at it right now, we're naming these teams that can do it, right? And at this very moment, Cincinnati is sitting 8th in the league right now with the most cap space.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason we're saying it is because we know
50,
that they
50
have people who they're gonna have to invest in.
what again, right now they're sitting with 52 million in cap space, and the only other guys I need to sign or consider signing is DJ Reader, Tyler Boyd, and T. I mean,
We can manage that.
I think I know which direction I'm gonna go with that. I think
As far as the bread you want to spend.
yeah, and I'm sitting there with 52 million. I'm like, dude, my priority this entire offseason is to
what's
bring back
Burrow's
T.
money?
Higgins.
Let's see. Also, the Texans got 70 plus mil in cap room to
Burrow
work with
did
too.
sign his extension, correct? He did.
I think
He
so.
has his second deal
Yeah,
already, right?
Yeah,
I
he
do
does.
believe so.
So when does that kick in?
That's a good question.
Because I'm sure he's still probably on his rookie.
Mm-hmm. So his deal will kick in. It's looking like in 2025.
So next year,
Mm-hmm.
not this season,
This
but
upcoming season, he has a base salary of 10 mil.
right.
The
And then
next
next
season
year,
is 25.
it's
And then
20.
it's 25, 27, and then 35 and 48.
So his jumps up in 2025 to up 15 mil.
Mm-hmm.
Chase should be eligible at this point,
He will be
right?
for his
To get
extension.
his big
And
contract.
a tag T would be looking for a long term deal
And
at the 1 year.
he'll be looking for a long term deal.
Why do they?
Higgins won't
Why do
be able
they?
to, but even if you made his deal right now, would you be able to afford to keep him?
Yes, because if
You
you give Higgins another season to impress and prove himself,
oh, no,
that's only going to raise the
I
money.
I think he's gone. Period.
No,
Because I
but
don't think you're going to sign both. But
you
if you
absolutely
sign
can.
him now, I feel like you're making the choice that you're not going to be able to bring Chase back. That's how I see it. You're not going to be able to bring
Well,
Chase
no,
back.
it's not about whether or not they could bring both back.
You can
It's
bring
do you
both
care
back.
about the rest of the roster?
Right, that's the
that's the
thing.
question.
I
Because
care about
because
the-
you're
Okay,
not
so
giving
then-
out you're not giving out another contract to Burrow. It's just that he gets a raise next year. That's all it is. So next offseason, the only priority you're going to have is to pay Chase. You can do both, but you have to get the T contract done now. Again, if you allow him to play on the tag, which is cool. But if you allow him to play on the tag in 2024 and he goes out and he has another 100 catch season with 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns, he's going to look at this and say, I want more money. You had an opportunity to sign me before I put together another all-pro season.
Now, how you feel?
But how do you $70 million in 3 players on the
That's
defensive side of the ball?
That's the 3 best players on the team. Why?
Why not? Is because they're not going to have good games every single game.
Everything that this team has done has been centered around who? those three players,
But at the same
everything
time,
that they've done.
they are at their best when Joe Mixon is getting involved. How long he gonna be
Man,
around?
please, they can make it work without Joe.
They
I like
can
Joe.
make
They
it
can
work, but
absolutely make it
every
work without
team
Joe.
we've only seen a few teams that don't necessarily need a dominant run game.
We
Usually, it's a competent run
they
game
didn't even
to
have
have that
they didn't
balance.
even have that much of a run game when Jake Browning took over. Jake Browning still looked fairly impressive in that particular offense
But
because
they
he was
weren't
throwing to
winning.
those two guys.
They weren't winning though.
They were initially when Burrow got hurt. They hit a losing streak to end the season, but you got to keep going. They had that Monday night game on the road in Jacksonville where they clearly outplayed the better team.
So
I'm building. If that's my nucleus, I'm
They're-
building around that.
because like their GM, at least how he put it was, look, they signed Burrow last year, and by signing Burrow, they had to lose Bates. So I'm like, okay, so they know if they sign Higgins, something else is gonna have to
They're
give
gonna lose.
somewhere
They're gonna
else.
lose DJ Reader,
They were 4-3 with Browning.
who's their starting nose tackle right now.
So they're gonna
Their
keep on
best-
losing pieces to
Their
their
best,
defense
their
as they
best
keep on
interior
signing
lineman.
these guys. They're gonna keep on losing pieces to the defense.
Well, I mean, you know what? If that's my nucleus, I'm sitting. I rather that happen than for me to sit here and try to replace T and Tyler, and I'm not successful at it.
Y'all better draft well.
Because now I'm wasting years for Burrow and
But I think
Chase.
this would be the year to do it. This wide receiver draft class. I figure
No,
eventually
this is the year.
that-
No, not for
I
other
agree.
teams, not for Cincinnati. If you're Cincinnati, this is the year that I keep my nucleus together for the next 5 years.
I disagree with the next with that present or with that.
However long you want to, for the foreseeable future, you're able to solidify that.
I feel like you're handicapping yourself and betting on your three to be better than
I absolutely
everybody
am.
else.
Up to this point, that's all they've been doing.
Again,
They haven't made major investments on defense. Why haven't they?
because
But they went out and signed Orlando Brown and paid him so much money. They spent all these
let's think
first
about it
round
like this.
picks
Yeah,
on
but
linemen.
remember, their defense was a big reason why you got past the Chiefs. Were those defensive pieces that were creating the turnovers and creating
come on,
which is
opportunities.
exactly what I was about to bring
Right?
up too.
Everybody
the
knows.
Chiefs
No,
just tagged L'Jarius Sneed
that's
today.
great. But I also have a quarterback that I just paid handsomely, who still led my team on a game-winning drive despite being sacked.
They have
9 times a game.
McDuffie on their team. Who wasn't he first team All Pro this year? Was that
McDuffie
him?
was a corner. Yes, as a corner, he was a first team All Pro.
And then they probably they gonna have to sign
Good
Chris Jones. They can't let
transition.
him go
Sneed's about to go
after the season.
No, he's gone.
Season. I can't see Sneed in Kansas City.
He has already been given permission to seek a trade. So he's most likely going to get the franchise tag and then look
which is 19
for another team who's willing to pay that tag and extend him. So he's gone at this point. So they're going to have some work to do in the draft probably again. I wouldn't be surprised. It's really a toss-up, and we'll get into the Chiefs and what they should do at 32 between if they should go wide receiver, if they should go corner. It seems like Chris Jones is who they're prioritizing, which for good reason. I understand.
Absolutely.
I understand. So
that's the right decision.
Sneed is gone. Do you think that's the right decision as well?
I mean, when it comes to Sneed, I think he can be a really good player. His tag at 19 right now, I believe that will make him the league this season. Is he worth 19? No, I don't think so.
Well, you said the franchise tag's inflated, so
it is. His market value is like 14 or 15. I think he's probably better in that area, but it's the right move. The impact that Chris Jones has on that team, not just the defense, the team. You can't let that walk, man.
They also let go of Valdez-Scantling. So they cleared some cap there.
12 mil.
And then now you're saying you're going to let Sneed go see what he wants on the trade. So to me, all arrows are pointing towards getting Chris Jones his money.
Yep.
I feel as though especially in the AFC with the way quarterbacks are built, how they work.
Yeah.
The easiest way to disrupt a quarterback, right up the middle, right there. Yep. Having somebody like Chris Jones changes the entire dynamic of timing, of your defense, of how your secondary can operate behind you. And you need that against the quarterbacks, especially in the AFC. So I would absolutely prioritize Chris Jones because you can have someone who is of lesser skill set than L'Jarius Sneed and Chris Jones can speed up the quarterback, so that way it makes their life easier, and they don't have to be exposed. They're not going to be put in as many positions to be exposed.
The A gap is the quickest way to the quarterback.
Absolutely.
And if you remember how dominant Aaron Donald was during the Rams Super Bowl year, and how his presence, it doesn't even have to equate to sack numbers, but just his presence on the field.
Bengals slick had that if Aaron Donald didn't blow it up.
They did.
Just like the 49ers
They
this
did.
year.
And Chris Jones, yes, his impact in that Super Bowl,
Jones,
he didn't have a ton of, sack numbers, but again, I can think of 3 different occasions where Brock had a throw and he couldn't get the throw off properly
Literally
because
was
Chris
under
Jones was
duress.
in his face. Yeah,
Within moments.
So
what can you do?
That's the best move for Kansas City, bringing back Chris Jones.
If it's a team like the Ravens, though, even though it's looking like they're gonna tag Matabike, I feel like somebody like them who has the reputation and the track record to be able to put out a good defense regardless, I feel like it's easier for them to tag a corner and it be more beneficial to them than an interior person. I feel like their front seven is always good, regardless of who's in there. Like obviously, it's nice to have a Chris Jones, a Justin Madubuike who leads you at sacks as a defensive tackle, which is kind of crazy.
13, I believe.
It's like 10 and a half, 11, somewhere around there. But regardless, when you lead your team in sacks as a D tackle, that's crazy. That shouldn't happen. It just speaks to his level of dominance. But for somebody like them, it's cool if you tag a corner, but in general, easiest to make an impact with the defensive tackle.
All right, so let's get into the combine. Combine
the
week.
Lovely combine.
Is there any players that you guys are particularly looking forward to seeing?
Man, you know what? It was 13 for Matabike this year.
It was 13? Okay.
Yeah. Man, it's a bummer not being able to see the top quarterbacks throw, man. Like, and I understand why.
Because Caleb's not,
Drake is not, and Jaden is not as well. They're not throwing.
Yes, they're doing everything else.
They're doing interviews. Oh, I don't think they're doing any type of on-field drills at all. Like I don't think they're running. I don't think they're doing any of that. I think they're just doing interviews. They're in person, but just doing interviews. And this again, they're all going to throw at their pro days respectfully, but and again, when it comes to that, I understand that too. You rather throw the guys that you're familiar with, that know who you are and know your tendencies as a quarterback, because there's a lot in play if you're Drake May or Jaden Daniels and you go out there this week in the combine and you have a questionable week where you're missing passes and all this type of stuff. Like that can have a ripple effect. So I get it, but not seeing those guys is a bummer. I want to see this wide receiver group. Like I want to see, because this is arguably the best group in the draft. Like, and I hope we see. I don't think Marvin is.
No, there's no way. I don't think he's doing.
I don't think Marvin Harrison is doing anything. I mean, he's going to do his pro day, of course, but
yeah, but who? I don't think.
I'm not quite sure exactly which receivers bowed out this week, but there's a good number that did not. I can't wait to see this wide receiver.
Somebody's passing on their pro day and the combine. I thought it might have been Marvin. I don't remember who it was. I'm trying to think. It's one of the bigger prospects. It's one of the things where
but with
go ahead.
With Marvin, with Malik Neighbors, with Roma Dunze, with Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, Malachi Corley, those guys, AD Mitchell. Like this is arguably the best class, the best group in the entire draft, and I can very well see about 6 guys going the first round this year. And so to see them out on the field, especially in that gauntlet drill, where they're going from sideline to sideline, catching passes, like that should definitely be interesting to see. But I'm ready to see this wide receiver group.
I'm more interested in the not top 3 quarterbacks. I want to see what
the Bo Nix,
the JJ McCarthy,
the ones who are going to be actually participating.
They're the ones that are. They're actually
they have something to prove for one. Like JJ McCarthy, I feel like has a brand of like a Russell Wilson in terms of he makes good decisions. He don't got to do too much. He's able to be put in good positions to succeed, and he got some wheels. He got some athleticism. Bo Nix had this really good Oregon career. At Auburn, he was very suspect, very hit or miss, a much wider spectrum. His floor was much higher at Oregon in terms of the decisions he made and the throws he was able to make, even putting his team in a position to win. Like, you could be intimidated by Bo Nix this year. You couldn't. I wasn't scared of Bo Nix when he was at Auburn, right? So seeing what those two quarterbacks specifically are able to show in terms of just the aesthetic, I don't know. Like, I think film study in terms of moments, in terms of teams, big games. I think that those will obviously be more telling than what we'll see at the combine. But it would be nice to at least see what they do on the big stage in front of NFL scouts and teams. And I think in terms of impacting draft position, they have the opportunity to raise or drop themselves the most. I feel like the wide receivers, for the most part, at least early on in the draft, is set
No.
in a way. I feel like you think who you think will rise and drop?
Well, for one, I think that Brian Thomas, I think that Coleman, I think Leggett. Because okay, so for example, if Brian Thomas runs in the 4.4s or in the 4.3s, his stock is going to go up tremendously. If he runs in the 4.5s,
That's a good point.
it could drop down,
Mm.
possibly, depending on how others do. Xavier Leggett, like people are expecting him to just completely dominate this entire thing and his stock to go up. Keon Coleman, I'm going to assume that they're going to look at his fluidity because they feel like he doesn't separate a lot. So depending on what he shows,
I mean, he hadn't
maybe
not as much as some of the other
his
guys.
stock can rise or fall depending on who you're talking to about Keon. But he's another freak of nature in this draft. So it really just depends on that. I think that Xavier Worthy's hands have been questioned. So if he goes into this thing and when they're running those drills where you're running from one side of the line to the other side and you're plucking those balls, like depending on your fluidity on doing that,
I guess that's
they
fair.
may feel some type of way towards him. Unsure.
You're doing a great job.
I'm just giving different like things that are popping in my head that people will be
That's
like,
how I said that, but
oh, this should help their stock go up
You
or their stock
you
go
peeped it.
down. Like these are the things that people will come up with on why people's stock should go
No,
up or down.
the volume, y'all are right. That's fair. The wide receiver group as it's very fluctuating. I'm thinking in terms of impact and what these dudes could mean for their teams. The quarterback is the most important position on the field. I
I
guess
thought you were just talking about their draft stock.
I was, but in terms of how they're like what they show and how it can translate to improving a team, I mean, obviously it has the biggest impact because of what the quarterback position could do, touching the ball every time, you know what I'm saying, being able to put everybody in a position to succeed. But y'all are right. The wide receiver group is deep. There's a lot of wide receivers, even dudes like Malachi Corley, Troy Franklin, dudes like that who have an opportunity to rise or fall based on how people pick. Like there's a lot of good wide receivers in this pool.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see about a dozen wide receivers go in the first 2 rounds. Like that wouldn't surprise me at all. This class is deep.
I feel like that's a good betting ass for Vegas.
Doesn't over the 11 and a half and 32 picks?
I'll take the. I'll definitely.
And 64 picks.
I'll take the.
Oh,
over.
in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. First 2 rounds. I'll definitely take the over.
I would
I will absolutely take the over.
Yeah, I would
Like
take
this class is good. And as you guys mentioned, there are a number of guys like Leggett for one. Leggett did not have a great Senior Bowl. Came into the week with anticipation that he was going to be, 6'3", 6'4", 223. He measured at 6'1", which is a little underwhelming for a lot of teams. And then he didn't have a great week in terms of catching the football. He had some drops. Same with Tez Walker, another guy.
Yep, bad Senior Bowl.
Terrible Senior Bowl week. So he needs to polish everything he can at this point. And so the combine is a perfect opportunity.
My question to that is because I'm sitting here and I'm like, it's cute what you're doing against this air, but I saw what you did when you had a man lined up across you, as far as the people who competed at the Senior Bowl. Like, I saw what you did when you had someone lined up against you. I hold that higher than what you're doing right now against this air.
That's fair, but the one thing when it comes to Senior Bowl compared to the combine is you have one-on-one opportunities at the combine to get this prospect in your face at that point. So at Senior Bowl,
True.
you can observe them, but you don't really have that.
Interview
Yeah, you
and
don't have any of that.
classroom
So
time.
teams look at that as that opportunity to say, "Hey, I can get this kid in front of me, and we can talk about whatever, we can put whatever's in the air, we can discuss anything, and that's valuable because I can be able to talk to him the way that I want, and he can feel the vibes are there between that. So a lot of teams do utilize Combine Week as something very valuable.
This is very random, but what I guess this is a twofold question for y'all, and this is coming from he's the only person that's played even semi-pro football on this panel. But when in terms of judging character and such for a prospect, what do y'all think is or are important traits that coaches look for when trying to decipher who they pick
And can we just
in the
talk?
draft?
Can we instead frame this question of what are yellow and or red flags?
I like
I
that.
feel like that's
Okay.
a easier way to go about it.
And two, what weird questions come to y'all's brain that y'all have heard coaches ask players at the combine or at the combine?
I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
for me, if there are red flags, first of all, everybody already knows it. Like Pickens, everybody already knew character issue, off field issue. Like
Mm.
you already know them. So it's really getting them in the room and discussing why it happened, all of these things, and like getting into the
Randy
finer
Gregory
details
type people, same
personally.
thing.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
to me, red flags, you already know them. Everybody already knows them. That's why it's a red flag. Yellow flag, or if some news should break out. Those are like the two big things. I mean, everything else is really what are coaches or teammates saying about you, and then those will create what other flags because they've already done the research on all these people from that standpoint of talking to their teammates before we even get in this room. And now I'm in this room with you. Okay, this is what I'm being told. This is what I'm hearing. Is this true?
Mm.
Is this not true? So on and so forth is where I'm thinking.
Mm.
When it comes to red flags, honestly, and believe it or not, what position you play does play a part.
And if it's a red flag or not,
Yes.
That's interesting.
There's a certain level of leadership you would expect from a quarterback that you may not expect from
a wide receiver.
or safety
Or even like a
or
defensive tackle.
a right guard.
Be a little crazy, maybe.
There's
Ball
certain
time.
traits you look for in a quarterback that you're not going to look for in. It's just
I
like
think
it's just like scouting their skill set, right?
yes,
Like you're going to look at footwork a little bit more with a quarterback and a receiver more than you're going to look at it with an interior defensive lineman
right,
or a punter or something like that.
right.
So
I would say my quarterback, my center, my linebacker, and my safeties. I'm looking for the same thing in all of them because you're the leader of something for my team. I mean, your quarterback, you're the leader of the whole damn thing. My center, you're the leader of this line. My linebacker, you're the leader of my front seven. My safety, you are the leader of the DBs. Like I probably look for the same thing in the traits in those guys in that aspect personally.
There's a spectrum, I feel like, with what you're talking about in terms of what traits you will excuse more for certain position groups in terms of you being able to be calm or you know what I'm saying. There are positions like defensive tackle or occasionally wide receiver, offensive lineman, where you can be a little more sporadic with your energy because you can channel it to benefit the team more so than if you have to think things through, if you have to play at a certain pace, if you have to know other people's positions and roles and be able to communicate effectively and things of that nature. I feel like there's a spectrum with that for each
Which
position.
is why I said linebacker safety. Like they need to know what everybody and where
Right.
everybody should be.
yeah, I mean, basically when it comes to like the quarterback position, like again, there's certain things that you look for in a quarterback that you may not look for in anyone else in any other position. You know, if when it comes to decision making, I've seen and heard where coaches will sit here when they have a quarterback in their face that they're kind of sort of questioning. they throw a scenario out there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Fourth quarter tie game, minute and a half left. This, and this. What would you do? You won't necessarily approach a defensive tackle in that same scenario. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain things as far as how the game is played out that they may or may not be able to affect. So when it comes to a quarterback, I think it's a different scale when it comes to that, man. But red flags that I look for, how you conduct yourself in interviews. To me, I think interviews and not necessarily your answer, but just how
Your aura,
your mannerisms, your aura, yeah,
language.
your body language and things of that nature. I'm looking for things like that when it comes to red flags because it's like how uncomfortable are you going to be in a room full of people that are going to be, you know, your bosses essentially when you think about it. You know, if you're able to walk in and you don't know any of our names, but you can interact with us in a very genuine way, like that's gonna tell us something. So like things like that, man. If you uncomfortable in that type of environment, you might have an issue going forward. That's the thing. That's one thing that stands out to me.
I agree with that. I mean, because it's the same thing for any of us interviewing for a job when we're interviewing. Like I've seen people get interviewed for jobs and the language that they decide to use, they got a little too comfortable. And it was like, yeah, no, like you need to be able to carry yourself a certain way. Because, if somebody came up to me in an interview with one of these ball players and I'm a head coach and you ready to dap me up, pause. Like, hold on. I'm not,
You know,
we not,
We're not homeboys.
I need professionalism from
the
you
one
because
thing
this is
for
a
me
job.
when it came to
That's
interviews, the
understandable.
one thing for me, man, I swear, me personally, I felt like I didn't have the greatest interviewing skills, but the one thing that I always wanted to prove, no matter if I got the job or not, the one thing that I always wanted to prove is that I wanted them to feel so comfortable with just talking with me. And
Mhm.
that was huge because I felt like when you're able to do that, you can get a real sense of me, and then we can truly figure out whether or not I'm the right person for this particular job.
And it's crazy because when you think about it, I feel like, especially as you grow older, you understand you want to like who you work with.
Right.
So having it, you have a longer leash if somebody wants you to succeed. If somebody wants to be in that energy, that
Yeah.
aura, it goes a long way in terms of it when you make mistakes and them wanting to help you out, wanting you to be great, and even just for your comfort and everybody else's comfort. Like nobody want to go to work and not like who they be with.
And when you tie that to what's going on, this is essentially a job interview for these players. That's why you're out there, whether or not, even if you're participating in the drills or not, or you're just doing the interviews and you're sitting down talking with teams. All of this is essential because even when you're not interviewing with them, even if you're just walking around on the field, they're watching you. They're looking at everything you're doing on that field. They watching the fact that if you're being given instructions on how to do a drill, they're watching to see whether or not you back there,
Messing around.
BSing around. They watching little stuff like that. So this is one massive job interview when you think about it.
Absolutely. I wanted to bring up the draft question part. I wanted to Google to make sure I wasn't missing one that I thought of. But I remember somebody brought up, if you committed murder, what murder weapon would you use? And thinking about a question like that in terms of
That
what
actually
they're
does sound like a combine question.
like, in terms of what coaches are looking for with that answer. Like, you want somebody to get cut up? You looking to dice and slice and dice that speak to a certain mentality? Do
I'm in my head. I'm like, I'm using an arrow. And
oh,
I'm not
you be
But,
this
but if I'm a team though,
you're
if I'm a
what?
team and I ask you that question and you actually like unravel some type of detailed plan,
You know what I'm saying? Like, be received.
I'm
And
looking
even, are
I'm
you wearing
looking
gloves with your arrow? Because
I'm
your
looking
fingerprint gonna
I'm
be on the
looking at my
arrow.
assistant.
You gonna get caught.
Like he got this mapped out somewhere.
But at the same time, why are you setting said player up?
Nerd.
Surprised you didn't say your damn katana. Sing your seat out.
But we could, but that I can tolerate that. I'm cool with that. And he's just gonna try to be Peter Pan and shit. That's all it is.
I like
That's crazy.
Marvel, coach.
Nah, I feel like they want to see you like in a closet. You know what I'm saying? They want hand in hand. They want knife. They want machete. They want dagger. You know what I'm saying? That
Quarterback coach, my aim is on point.
maybe it depends on the person. Maybe defensive tackle. We seen Aaron Donald training with knives or fake knives or whatever, you know. So maybe you want to see hands spot 20, you know what I'm saying? Maybe for the quarterback, they want you to stay protected. They want you to be precise, having an arrow. Makes sense. Maybe a sniper.
Accuracy.
So
Makes sense.
You mentioned
Judging wind and distance and
all right,
such.
so you mentioned like things that are being asked to prospects at the combine and stuff like that. And there's when I say it's a real thorough interview, it really is. There's questions that are being asked that you would never think would be asked to another human being for a job interview.
Is your mother
So
attractive?
that is definitely one.
Questions like that.
That is definitely one that a player received one year. Is your mother attractive?
You say yes.
Absolutely.
My mother's a very attractive woman. We only have attractive people.
But your way of thinking at the same time is what the hell does this have to do with football? Right? Would you share your internet history with us? If a team that wants to draft you,
what you gotta hide?
Exactly.
Coach, I like my privacy.
I'm about to take you.
Private man, coach.
Listen, Caleb. Okay, I'm about to draft you #1 overall. You gonna let me see your? I need
coach.
No. I need if I'm drafting. Let's see. Here's the thing. If I'm drafting you #1 overall, okay,
yes, coach.
I want to know. Yes, I want to know when you're eating. I want to know how many bites you're taking with that particular piece of. I want to know everything that's going on in your life.
And what you can take away from this, coach, is that you don't have to worry about my business being out there because I'm a private person.
And you want me to give you the keys to my franchise?
You won't ever hear me in the news, coach. I'm a private person.
Can't let me look at your internet history. You want me to let you lead my team to the promised land. That's like it's just.
And look, there's some things that you gotta stay football. You got football over here. You know what I'm saying? I'll communicate. I'll let you know.
I'm nervous because
if my search history ever impacts you, you will know.
Because now I see why you're not looking in your playbook because you're looking at the same every day when you're searching when you're supposed to be studying. You're looking.
So you think Kyler Murray got the internet search history question?
Absolutely, man. Look, Kyler Murray. Bro, if someone asked him anything about Call of Duty or any type of video game during this comp, like he would kill it. I got that down pat.
That's crazy because I really want Kyler to do well, but I'm glad this.
Well, we can talk about Kyler right now. Actually,
oh, word.
We can talk about the first 4 picks. Yeah, I want to.
We start from 4 to 1. We're going 1 to 4.
We go.
Do we have to
talk about them?
You want to talk about the Commanders?
Yeah, these 4 next week. We get into the Falcons and that. We're gonna get into all of it.
All right,
make sure everybody feels some love.
Let's talk about these raggedy.
So we can start with.
You said what? What you say? Speak up. I ain't hear you.
We can start with the Bears. We can start there.
The Bears.
We can talk. We
got Bears.
Fields.
I think
Fields is gone.
I think it is gone. Yeah, I think the smoking gun that they were looking for was whether or not they truly feel Caleb would embrace being a Chicago Bear. And when they got that news earlier today that Caleb said he would, if he got drafted to Chicago, he would be excited. That's all they needed to hear. I think Justin Fields is as good as going right now.
I agree as well. I think he going home. What you think?
I don't know.
What you think?
We'll talk about that at 8.
I don't know.
Oh. We'll talk about it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I think it's a mistake, personally. I do think that because I do believe in Fields for one.
I do as well.
And because of that, I'm like, you have the opportunity yet again to trade back, gather the pieces needed, and do this thing right and do right by Fields.
If I was Ryan Poles, right, like you said, I believe in Justin Fields. I'm trading back. I'm taking Marvin. Wherever I trade back, if I stay in the top 10, I'm taking Marvin.
If Marvin's available, I don't think he's getting past 4.
But hypothetically,
I'm trading with the Commanders.
Yeah, if I just fall back to 2, I'm getting Marvin. You know what I'm saying? And at 9, honestly, may consider taking a guy like Brock Bowers. I'm saying, look, Justin, I want you to succeed as much as I possibly can, and we have not done you right over these years.
The rest of the draft,
I wouldn't take
defense. along with my free agency money that I've had this offseason.
No, I would take a
The O-line with that, yeah.
The free with the cap and defense, the second round, and all of your picks that I give the Commanders. Defense.
That's what.
Let's go.
Justin, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Brock Bowers, an improved offensive line, and a deep defense.
I feel like
Let's play some football. Let's play some football.
If they're going to trade back, or even just at 9, they should pick a lineman for one.
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Because
I'm good.
I feel like Cole.
Oh, I think you can get them in free agency.
Cole Kmet's good.
You got money.
I don't think they need type. Like it would add a different dynamic to their offense to have Brock Bowers.
Sure. Kmet is good, but again, on game days, I want you to walk into that stadium knowing that we have to cover DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Brock Bowers,
and Kmet as your fourth
for 4 quarters.
As your fourth.
That does sound kind of crazy. I
want that.
I would love that for them.
You're not going to
right now.
At the same time,
yes,
they have a lot of holes. They could lose Jalen Johnson. Their safeties done got old. They already let Adrian Amos go. They already let Eddie Jackson go. They got Bray.
You have all these picks, and the picks you would accumulate by trading the one. You will be the youngest defense in the league, which is what the Chiefs were, and maybe that messes you up for next year. But
for the future,
as long as you hit on some of them,
I got money. I hear word on the street is Buda Baker may be a cap casualty from Arizona. So if I'm Chicago,
I would love Buda
for 3 years on the back end of my defense.
I would love.
I have money.
Mm-hmm. They can pay him. I feel like
you're building. You have Sweat, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Sweat. You got Tremaine.
You got TJ Edwards. Was it? Yeah, TJ Edwards, right?
The linebacker?
The linebacker. They signed 2 linebackers. Remember, it's Tremaine Evans and TJ Edwards. So they have both of those guys.
So you're already starting to build your core for your future.
Mm-hmm.
So you do need a leader for the back end. There are a lot of young safeties in free agency right now who aren't Antoine. That's all everybody's focused on. But there are a lot of young safeties.
But I think I want a more veteran guy on that back end back there. And like I said, a guy like Buda Baker, they have the money, basically. Yes. Chicago can play this in a manner where they keep Justin and they simply just replenish the entire roster.
Yep.
Okay.
Because they have the assets instead of starting from essentially scratch.
I feel like if you're drafting Caleb, you are starting from scratch.
Y'all's logic is absolutely correct, but that's not what's going to happen.
It's not what's going to happen. They're going to take Caleb.
Yeah. Which is why they not winning nothing.
Or also just it's a safe option that won't in terms of management. You're right. It is never safe. It increases your window for your job standing by trading Justin Fields and getting Caleb Williams, considering when they had the opportunity to go get Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, and they took Mitchell Trubisky, and they've been doodled on that decision for a while. Having another opportunity to get a quarterback, like if Caleb is good somewhere else, everybody fired next year. It's done.
And Caleb should so happen to not be.
I'll be quite,
they have more time now.
I'll be quite honest with you though. If I were able to put together that roster the way I did, at least offensively, don't you think that might buy me a little bit of time as well? Don't you think the ownership is going to look at it and say, "Dang, we went from just Justin to Justin, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Brock Bowers, Cole Kmet.
We got an offense.
You have something here. That can extend my life expectancy as well, in my opinion.
I agree.
So
I agree. It makes sense.
For me, I feel it's that route with keeping Justin is the more fruitful because again, you're able to spread it across the entire roster.
And how about this? And if it doesn't work with if they did all this and next year Fields still can't get it done with all these weapons. Well, guess what? I have accumulated all these picks.
That next quarterback.
I can trade up if I need to.
Shador.
And get another quarterback in the next year's draft.
Shador. And I'm going to get.
I have so much.
And I'm going to
get. It's not as plentiful as this draft, though.
It's not. But I can get aggressive to move up as much as I want and give Shador, Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore, and Brock Bowers.
That's fair.
realistically, if it didn't work out with Fields, you're saying what? I'm somewhere between picks
6,
6 and 14
something like
or
that.
some crap like that.
Mhm.
That's the only way we're gonna sit
I
here
don't
and
even
have
know.
that
I
conversation.
don't even know they'll be that bad.
I don't think they would, but I'm saying
I don't think they would either.
if it didn't work
I don't
out,
think
what
Even
are we saying?
even if it didn't work out with Justin, I still think they're a 500 team with that type of makeup that we were talking about. I still think they're a 500 team. They'll probably be drafted in the middle of the first.
So you're saying somewhere between 15 and 20.
I would say like between 12 and 15,
12
12
I'm
and
and
about to
16.
15.
say
Yeah,
Okay.
20
So
to
yeah,
yeah,
20 is
so
a
if
playoff
they're
team.
somewhere between 12 and 15, could they trade up enough to
absolutely,
get where they need to?
absolutely.
So
We've
I
seen it
mean,
before.
that to me is the route that I personally would go. So I've always disagreed with this thing. Like, and it's no slight towards Caleb. He's still a risk. Anytime you're drafting a rookie, it's always going to be a risk, no matter how much of a sure thing people say it is. He
And
wouldn't
and
be the
it
first quarterback drafted at number 1 overall who doesn't pan out.
and even
So, my bad. Go ahead.
well, I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say even if we were talking the situation on or talking the event of Caleb going to Washington, like that would be a considerable risk there for the Commanders as well, right? Bringing Caleb in the fold,
I think
sitting at number 2.
the risk with the Commanders specifically isn't the quarterback, it's Cliff Kingsbury. Like with Drake May, for an example, his spectrum for what you could get with him is wider. He has the confidence, he has the big arm, he has the tight window throws, he has the ability to get out of the pocket and create, he has the ability to read defenses after the play starts and make the right decisions, but his accuracy in moments, his long release in moments costs him. And that's it. Like, okay, so Justin Herbert's second year, we hear Drake may get compared to Justin Herbert a lot. Justin Herbert had what 37, 38 touchdowns, something like that, 15 interceptions. I could see Drake May having numbers like that in the right system. That sounds about right. Turn the ball over a good amount because of the accuracy and decision making in moments. Thinking because I can, if I'm Drake May, I can make all the throws. I have the arm strength. You see it on the tape off the back foot in between three defenders. I can make the throws. And same thing with Caleb in a way. That confidence can come back to bite me because I missed a defender. Oh, I didn't see this. Oh, I overthrew somebody. But with Drake May, the accuracy, all the quarterbacks, at least from what I've seen from A to Z films, they got it from I think Scout Pro Football Focus, something like that. Not Pro Football Focus. It was there was a whatever their source was. I'll look it up on the picture in the meantime. Drake May's accuracy was the lowest of all the quarterbacks in this class. Nothing that he had was a green in terms of accuracy. It was all in the 60s. It was behind everybody else. So it having somebody like Cliff Kingsbury, who to me hasn't really proven himself as somebody who's consistently going to get you where you need to be. I don't like Drake May as a fit here because I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury is going to bring out all of his great traits that he does have, for example. So having someone with a higher floor like Jaden Daniels doesn't turn the ball over, an accurate quarterback. He will just tuck it and run, not necessarily look to force things down the field, which is cool when you're working with somebody who isn't necessarily the most competent or will bring out your skill set the best in Cliff Kingsbury. So that for me in terms of for the Commanders, I didn't mean to make it all about the Commanders, even though I always do. That for me would be a determining
So
factor
you're
in who you
saying the
picking.
Commanders at 2 should go either Caleb or Jaden.
Jaden, yes. Because I don't think that we could maximize what Drake brings. I think Drake can have a higher ceiling than both of them from what I've seen on the tape thus far. I'm early in my tape endeavors, but the skill set that he has, he can do it all. It's really just putting him in positions to succeed and weeding out his bad habits.
We when we talk about the Commanders, a lot of people get stuck and fixated on the quarterback position. Understandably, I mean this is a very important decision that they have to make.
We've had a lot of quarterbacks over the last couple years.
But my but my thing is there's so much there's so much construction that needs to be happening on the rest of the roster as well. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't see it because they look at it as the
there's a
quarterback
lot.
spot.
We got a lot of
They have
holes.
$80 million in cap space and for free agency,
Maybe
and
Lobo.
they have no edge rushers.
Neither.
They
Our
don't have
linebackers are
they don't have a
suspect.
number one corner.
We need a corner. Yep.
They're
We need some line.
They're starting strong safety as a free agent.
Love to keep Cam
They
Curl.
don't really have much stability at inside linebacker.
Our best linebacker was hurt for a lot of the year last year.
Arguably their best player on defense may not even want to be there anymore.
I would completely understand.
So there's a lot of work that needs to be done on this team.
I mean,
that's not even mentioning the offensive line, which is probably the weakest position on the team.
I would assume that they're going to overpay some guys to come in and fill in those holes. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're going to have to overpay. It's going to happen.
You know
what you have that type of money and your team is where it is.
You know what I thought?
It depends on the vision that Adam Peters can sell.
You know what I thought about? Man, if there was a team that will overpay for Tyron Smith this offseason.
Tyron Smith, 35-year-old Tyron Smith? It's not us. Absolutely not. Oh, for what?
Because you just hired your head coach from that same organization and your DC from that same organization and other coaches on that staff from that same organization?
No, absolutely not.
And lead that defense.
Oh, it's a lot of former Cowboys coaches that are walking the sidelines in Washington.
No, yes, but
can help everybody.
Tyron Smith is not coming to. Why? For what? Again, if we're a piece or two away, sure, we can take that flyer, pay him a lot, go for a Super Bowl. We are not Super Bowl ready. We're not playoff ready.
Right, because what do you have at left tackle right now?
Again, that's not going to solve all of our problems.
No, but it can
anchors your young quarterback.
Exactly. It gives your young quarterback that you get ready to bring in. You give him some level of stability. You're not going to be able to do it across the entire offensive line, but you give him something instead of just drafting a raw left tackle to try to protect your rookie quarterback.
There are pros there in terms of building an eventual Super Bowl winning team, which should be the goal. That's what I want. I would love that. It don't seem realistic right now, but I would love that. I feel as though that's not the route, the preferred route to go. I think low key, maybe like subliminally, behind the scenes, it could help confidence in terms of giving your young quarterback, the protection on the left side so he can learn how to progress, learn how to make the throws, read defenses and things like that. Just going forward, it could be a small step in the right direction, but I don't think that's what they should prioritize.
They're definitely going to overpay people.
Absolutely.
You have no choice.
You have $80 million. You guys are not going to spend wisely. Like there's going to be one. I think you guys are going to spend. There's going to be one or two signings where I'm like, yeah, that's an overpay.
I'm gonna put it. I don't think there are players.
I feel like that's with every team, though.
I don't think players are sitting.
Not a team with $80 million.
I don't think players are sitting here saying, "I want to go to DC," and that's why you're gonna have to if you had winning under your belt, where it's like we're competitive, but if we're sitting here saying this franchise got a lot to figure out, then these players are like, this franchise got a lot to figure out.
I can see a scenario where they're giving Leonard Floyd $11 million a year for the next 3 years.
I mean, he wouldn't go because he wants to compete for a championship.
He may not, but
I agree.
You're right. Yeah, he may, but I mean, that's the position that Jonathan Gennard from the Texans. He's an unrestricted free agent. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets 19 million from you guys.
I'm telling you, you're gonna.
That's disrespectful
because you don't have any.
The only thing that you have to offer them is money.
That's it. Well, that's it. That's it.
You're gonna have to other teams.
I disagree. That's not the only thing that we have to offer. Let's think about this. We had coaches this year. We had Adam Peters, GMs this year, who only wanted the Commanders' job. This is the first time in my lifetime that we were sought after as a job that people wanted to see. It is different, but I'm saying in terms of how any entity across an organization has moved, nobody has ever sought out the Commanders as somebody who they want.
But it's different. When you're a GM, I'm sitting here like, I'm going to go for a job. It's a clean slate. Yeah, that job seems attractive when I get to choose everything because it's completely clean.
And again,
but as a player, are you looking at it like, bro, this is a clean slate? This is where I want to go? No.
No, but you can sell more so than you have in years past. Having the number 2 pick and seeing what the quarterbacks look like this year, and having an opportunity to bring somebody in who can change the trajectory of your franchise. You have other players who you can float. Hey, this person, we interviewed this person. They looking for this, but they said, oh, maybe they boys. Oh, you can bring this person in. If y'all both gonna come in at this price, would y'all do that? We act like we haven't seen that before in terms of people take a little less, maybe not. They'll still take the money. You're absolutely right. The money is the biggest selling point. I'm not at all disagreeing with y'all with that. But in terms of that's the only thing to sell, there is more. I'm trying to find the right adjective for the hope that I'm trying to sell, because it's always been hope, and nobody ever wants to sell hope. But it's a realistic and more grounded rebuild, a solid foundation. You're not building on Daniel Snyder's regime. You're building on a new head coach. Who knows how that will impact?
So here we go. This is Chicago.
In terms of money,
Just Chicago. Where's more appealing, Chicago or DC? If I'm a player, which team shows me more promise?
shows you more promise, or has
this is. I'm looking at both teams. Which team has more promise for me to succeed?
the thing about so if you're showing the Bears,
Right.
if
And
you're talking about who can reach a higher ceiling with next year, the Commanders.
Why would you say that?
Because again, when you talk about the money, we talk about the quarterback.
They got money. They got quarterback.
We could both. No, they don't.
They either have Fields or Caleb. So they got
either way. It's the same situation. It's a question mark. Either way, it's the same situation. We don't know if
right now the rest of the team. Whose team are you taking? Whose team is more built out? You already know Commanders are more built out.
We're not more built out.
Right. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, so you're competing against them for one, because you have what, 3 million more. So that's a team that you're going to compete with pricing wise. The Patriots,
I think that gap will
we'll see.
Raise a little bit with the cap rising.
The Texans got 70 mil. Where is more appealing? Like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, these are the teams you're competing with. You're gonna have to overpay because they look like a better situation for a player to go to. It's just why I'm saying you're gonna probably have to overpay, because there are a lot of teams that show more promise.
Because he's absolutely right.
You have
the only thing you can sell for any guys this offseason, this free agency period, is money. That's it.
The Colts got the Colts have.
What else are you selling? What else are you selling them on?
Is again, we would be selling them on a lot of potentials. A lot of
potentials.
It would be these other guys want to come here. Oh, we have this quarterback. Again, you're right.
But you don't know.
It would be a lot of potentials. It would be on how we can sell said question marks.
Money is how you're gonna sell it. Just here's a bag that's bigger than other teams are willing to give.
That's it. That's it.
Because I'll take a little less and go to a team where I feel like I can.
What else you selling? You selling them on Dan Quinn?
Because Dan Quinn's always put together a talented team.
Quinn, I can go. I can play with Dan Quinn. Or I can play with D'Amico.
Damn. I'm saying.
Damn.
That's a good point. Okay. That's a good point.
What else you selling them on?
Like with Dan Quinn specifically, Dan Quinn has always had talented teams. The way that he was able to rebuild the Falcons and he absolutely retooled y'all. He retooled y'all. He didn't.
He absolutely did not.
So what was y'all's record the year before y'all got Dan?
A number of their better players were there in place before Dan Quinn got there.
Matt Ryan was there. Julio was there. Devonta was there.
Roddy White was there.
Roddy was there.
Grady Jarrett was there.
But y'all was bad. And when he was put in terms of record, y'all was bad. You weren't good. And he took y'all to a Super Bowl.
In one, in
2 years.
A year later, what happened?
I don't remember. What happened? Educate me.
They went 10-6 that year, or 10-7 that year. Made the playoffs. Got knocked out in the second round of Philly. Haven't been to the playoffs since. This is under him. He still had 3 more years after that playoff year. And his very last year, he started 0-5. So what is he rebuilding? You went from the playoffs to an 0-5 start in the season in 2 years.
Yeah.
Man,
What position do you think you should target in free agents?
Line.
Which line?
I don't
I'm
know.
sorry.
Offensive line.
O
Offensive
line.
line. O-line for
Okay.
sure. I definitely feel like it. Again, we just need edge rushers. We still have Deron and Jonathan Allen.
So
We
O
need
line
now.
and edge.
for now.
O line and edge. Those
Oh.
are the two things that you think you should prioritize.
Prioritize? Well, no. I would prioritize O line and secondary. I'm sorry.
Okay, O line and secondary.
Correct.
All right. So
Yes.
should the Titans?
Damn, we have to.
All right. So
I would love a middle linebacker. I really would. That'd be great. And then
I don't know, bro.
take a
Because
little
there's
pressure
a
off of
lot of
Jamin.
teams, and even the teams that only have 38 mil, if they're looking for competing, if they're looking for the same position as you're looking for, and their team is more ready than you,
Like the Falcons.
you're going to be in trouble.
Like the Falcons.
You can go the Falcons route. You can go the Vikings.
If we're both
route.
bidding for edge
You
rushers,
can go the Rams.
and for particular edge rushers, like, man, damn, do I want to go play in DC? Do I want to go play in A?
If I want to, if you're looking for secondary pieces,
I would probably pick the
you're
Falcons.
looking. You're talking.
I know you would. You absolutely would. Come
You're
on,
talking
man.
Rams and you're talking secondary. If they're looking to get some build out their secondaries, am I going to the Rams or am I going to DC?
You see,
So you're
see
saying
As
we
far
got
as team, I'm not even talking city. I'm just talking about
you see his point, right?
this
team.
You have to throw.
team.
You're going to have to throw money at
You
them.
yeah.
That's the only way you're
By
going to
the
reel them in.
position that you need.
Josh Allen is not going to consider to play in other places next to potentially playing in Washington. He's going to look at Washington and say, I can get a ton of money over there. But, bro, we're going to be in last place.
I don't know if those
really
are.
throw that back.
I don't know if those are the type of dudes that we want. But at the same time, I don't know if we have the ability to pass on top guys who will want that top money and have dudes who are a little more average to above average and put them in a scheme
Hey
and
man,
make
you know what?
make
Don't
it
even worry
work.
about it. I want Atlanta and Washington to be bidding for edge rushers. I want us to. I want Raheem to make his pitch. I want Dan Quinn to make his pitch, and I want these players to really look at everything on the surface.
Y'all are absolutely more ready right now than we are. I'm not at all disputing that. We're not ready for nothing.
Right.
we are completely retooling. It is a clean slate.
I think you're just gonna have to go through the draft.
And again,
overpay.
that's
But they're still going to
I
overpay,
know
right?
that. But it's fine. It's
all good.
fine.
Y'all,
No, it's fun. I'm just saying it
It-
does. I'm saying I can see you guys giving Tyron Smith.
Tyron Smith, he old.
Okay, think about it. So when the Bills
What do we gain by getting
10
Tyron
years
Smith?
ago, 10 years ago, right? When the Bills were
You get a veteran. You get a veteran left tackle for your.
Don't put that on us. We only know this is not a vet ready team.
When
You don't go out sad, stressing. Why would Tyron Smith want to do that?
You're gonna have Jaden be David Carr this year, then that's all on you.
when the Bills 10 years ago were
David Carr is crazy.
10, 12 years ago were in these situations, you saw them overpay for T.O. They overpaid for Mario Williams. Like, they were overpaying guys because nobody wanted to come up there because there was no winning happening. It was just
For who?
Let's look at this.
Mario Williams,
T.O.
Yeah, T.O. played in Buffalo.
What was considered overpaid?
For 1 year?
For what you guys already had before he got there.
Nobody else was going to offer him what we offered him. That's why I mean overpaid.
No,
nobody else was coming close after Cowboys.
I think he was worth that, Jack.
He was worth that?
He was worth that money.
You think anybody else was going to pay him that money after the Cowboys?
But he was worth that money. But he was worth that money.
He was worth it?
He was worth that money. I still thought T.O. was dangerous in Cincinnati. T.O. was still T.O. I'm sorry.
I just think when I say overpay, I don't think anybody else in the market was going to pay him what we paid. That's what I.
Well, if it wasn't because of anything on the field.
No, probably.
I'm looking at Adam Peters. When he went to the 49ers, I believe they were rebuilding on a 2-14 team. When you retool from a 2-14 team and are able to get teams that are in the NFC Championship game, that are in the Super Bowl, I believe that he knows what he's doing. I don't know if he overpaid anybody the next year when he was first getting there. But having someone like that who we've seen rebuild a team with nothing, get everybody where they need it to be, draft right, whatever the case is, I have confidence that he gonna make the right decisions and do what he needs to do.
All right. Well, at 3, we have Arizona.
No, New
4.
England. New England.
Oh, New England is 3. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Okay.
You good?
So New England at 3.
I have no clue what they're going to do. No, I have no idea what they're going to do. This can go a variety of ways. They can stay at 3 and take Marvin. They can stay at 3 and take the best quarterback. They can stay at 3 and take Joe Alt, offensive tackle. They can drop back and target another receiver. They can drop back and target another quarterback. I don't know. I have no clue what they're going to do
It's interesting because we've seen I think
because
we've
they have
seen
money too.
other
Mm-hmm.
like the Sam Howell and Justin Fields. We know that those teams are looking at quarterback, and we've heard the rumblings of them being on other teams. For Mac Jones. So I really don't know if the Patriots are completely moved on in theory, based on the lack of noise that I've heard. You would think
But
that because he got benched,
That's what they do, though.
for sure,
They
and
don't talk.
absolutely, and given that Mac Jones got benched last year, I would think they're absolutely taking a quarterback. I don't feel as though they believe in Mac Jones fully, just based on the fact of him getting benched.
I don't know if it's 100% guaranteed that they're going to take a quarterback. I think it is 100% guaranteed that they're going to add a quarterback this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of which route they go. Like it's and that's kind of sort of the same way with a team like Atlanta as well. Like I think it's pretty inevitable they're going to add somebody. But for a team like New England, with everything that they've done as far as just overhauling the Belichick era and the Patriot and all that type of stuff, everything to start off year one with Gerard Mayo with Mac as your quarterback, that would
Yeah,
it would definitely be a little odd
a
trying to
little
put all that
deflating.
together. It would be.
So do you think that
Why would you not start anew? If you're starting anew, like the way they're starting anew now, why would you not start anew at the most important position of the game?
So would you say which way would you think is better, free agency or draft? I don't know what their expectations are. What standard?
Because they have money too.
They do. They have the Patriots have 77 mil.
They have money.
But the
Daniel
quarterbacks,
78.
do you get? So you have Kirk, you have Rush that you could trade
Kirk
for.
is the only person.
Justin that you could trade for.
I don't think that Justin fits them.
No, I said Russ.
No. For he said Justin.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think Justin fits them.
I don't think so
I don't
either.
think Russ fits them either. So
In terms of
play style, I mean, I don't know what play style they're trying to go for, but those guys.
But Kawhi does.
Who?
I mean, not Kawhi, but Kirk does.
Kirk's your.
I was looking at Kawhi on the television.
Kirk's your traditional pocket passer, so that's why I was saying I was like, and it's what they've gone for at least since I remember watching football.
I mean, for me, it depends
they only
on
went Cam once, and you saw that.
Right, but this is an organization who's not used to losing. And I think I can understand a philosophy that they may have mentally where it's like we need to get back to the playoffs as soon as possible. We're not used to having consecutive years of not making the postseason. So with that being the case, if that is the message, logically you would think they're going to go the veteran route when it comes to the most important positions.
Mm-hmm.
You probably would go out and give Kirk guaranteed money over the next 2 years. You probably would sign Tyron Smith if you needed to go that route, or you could definitely try to.
He was 33. I thought he was a little older than that.
You can definitely try to sit here and I can see them saying Tyler Boyd, come on over, 16 mil, we'll give you that.
16, damn.
We got it. We got 70 something. We'll overpay a little bit for Tyler Boyd. I can see that happening. I can see them. Right, but it's just one of those things where I can see either direction that they want to go. But this is the new Gerard Mayo era, so I can also see them saying, "Hey, we want to build this thing from the ground up." So we'll see.
Trent Brown is a free agent too. They're gonna need some linemen. I don't know if he gonna want to come back.
And then there was Arizona.
It was Redbirds. Oh man, bro, they want Marvin.
It was Marvin.
That's it.
So if Marvin's not on the board, then what?
They getting the hell out of there.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely, bro.
You don't think they would settle for Malik
No,
or Adunze?
no.
I wouldn't be mad with
As
Malik.
deep as why not just trade back and get more assets and settle for an Dunze elsewhere? Why not at 4? I'm letting Atlanta come up, and I fall back to 8, and I take a Dunze there at 8.
You think he's there at 8?
He'll
I'd
be
rather
there.
get Neighbors.
One of them will be there. I believe so.
Give me
Because
Malik.
you think the Giants will take one?
Giants may take one. They also may take an offensive line.
Lineman.
Chargers, we don't
Mm.
know. I don't know what direction they're going to go. Tennessee needs to go offensive lineman.
If they lose Mike Williams, you think that we'll talk about them. We'll talk about them next episode.
The Cardinals definitely need to go get a wide receiver.
They absolutely need a playmaker. They need a number
100%.
one. And if it ain't Marvin, they're gonna. I even in the trade down, I still think they're gonna leave round 1 with the receiver somehow.
Hollywood is a free agent.
Yes.
Hollywood is a free agent.
They would have Michael Wilson and Rondale Moore.
Yeah.
They absolutely need a wide receiver. Like 100%.
No, they need a receiver. But
he said that it's Marvin or trade back. That's why I was like, you don't think that they would just sit there and take
Neighbors?
No, they'll take any receiver in the first round, in my opinion. Well, they'll take most of the receivers that could be available at whatever spot. I'm just saying wherever they are in round 1, I think they're taking a receiver.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's fair. It depends on scouting grades and what you think of said players. But I think Malik is worth the 4th pick in the draft. That's where I'm at. I think he would be the only one. I wouldn't.
I would take Neighbors.
I wouldn't take Rome at 4.
I would not take Rome at 4.
No, I would not. I mean,
he wouldn't be
team. I'm sorry. It depends
He'd
on
always do
my
team. That's
fine.
fine.
For them,
no.
I would.
I don't love that pick for the Giants.
Who?
Rome.
To the Giants?
Because I think not only that, you still remember they re-signed Darius Slayton last offseason. Like Rome, Slayton, and Hyatt are the same receiver in my opinion.
Rome and Hyatt are the same?
I'm talking about when it comes their role in that particular offense is going to be a deep threat.
Rome can I feel like Rome can do things on all 3 levels.
I'm not going to need that because I still have Wandale there in the slot as handling the short and intermediate errors. I need someone. To me, Neighbors is a better fit for them for what they need because of what I'm going to ask Odunze to do with his size. He's 6'3", 6'4", 2. I'm gonna let him win deep a fair amount of time, but because I've already re-signed Darius Slayton, I already drafted Jalen Hyatt for his speed to stretch the field. I have that covered. I need a Malik Neighbors. That's the better fit.
To do what? Because you just said you have one doing the intermediate, you have one doing the deep.
Well, no.
So what do you want Neighbors to do that you can't have Rome do?
Because I don't believe Rome can be that effective in all 3 levels. That's the thing. I think he's better as a large deep threat that can win contested catches. I don't see him as someone that can win in the short area.
I think that for Rome, that situation in New York with the Giants specifically would be beneficial to him if Saquon is still there. I don't think that works if Saquon isn't there. Because of the intention that Saquon gets, it'll give him more opportunities. If it's just everybody, if you're looking at the Giants and their weapons, they have just a regular running back or a running back who you're not game planning around. They're going to game plan to stop Rome.
Okay. We'll talk more about this next week.
But real quick, Rome's would be my Mike Evans, the exact same way that Mike Evans was used in Tampa. That's exactly how I would deploy Rome.
Okay.
So
all right, so that's gonna do it. We went through our first 4. We'll go through the next 4 next week, which are who's at 5?
Chargers.
Giants.
I thought Giants are at 6.
Or is it Chargers? Yeah, Chargers at 5, Giants at 6, Titans at 7,
and
Falcons at 8.
So we will go through those 4 next week, and whatever other information that comes out between now and next Wednesday, we'll be back here 7:00. I'm Cordell.
E-Rock.
Dose.
Thank you guys. Please like, subscribe, share on our socials. Till next time, be easy, be breezy, and please take it easy.
Pour one out for Queese. He's not dead. He's just not here.
Hey, you fired, Queese.